On. Okay, great.
Hi,
So it says
everyone.
live. Okay, so this is really Ryan's meeting. I'm just going to kind of orient a little bit of this and uh, also want to see if get any comments from Ryan if my first email that I put in the for the email cadence, like if you have huge like this will be a huge problem or anything like that from your perspective. And correct me if I'm
Those are
wrong,
the
Ryan.
noises I make when I have an objection.
What's up?
Those are the noises I make when I have an objection. Just rah,
Same.
just do that.
Yeah, same.
Tyrannosaurus.
um,
Yeah, it's like
yeah, right, exactly.
Also, as a side note, if any of you are going to be speaking from a slide, I would need you to screen share because the way Google Hangout on air works is whoever is speaking is the one who's like sharing the screen.
cool.
Okay, got it. So I don't totally need to be here for the full time. But let me just kind of quickly go through a general agenda, and Ryan, please chime in. One, we're gonna be one, I'll kind of introduce Ryan to Madeline and Erica, just as so I don't think you guys have ever formally met before. Is that right?
Eric and I met briefly the other day.
Briefly, okay. Two is we're going to go through kind of like the email templates a little bit. That's really where, Ryan, if you can give me some feedback on that email template, that's like the one that's like literally going out today. And three is kind of a training on Mixmax and like initial V1 training, I guess, for Erica as more of like a shadowing type of thing. So the overall goal is that we're literally getting George to send out emails to teachers so that we're getting that process moving, and theoretically, potentially Erica as well.
Yeah. So just so that we're clear here, we're talking about this one email that's getting sent out to everybody we have on our list. It's not a sequence of emails saying, hey, I'm going out, so I'm going to be in your city at these dates. This is just a, hey, we're getting back into school, greetings, let's touch base. That's right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's go to that in a second. Does that agenda, is that in line, Ryan, with what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's totally cool.
Okay, great. So let me just kind of really quickly orient Erica. And so Erica, you have an XMS, and Madeline theoretically does as well. Madeline was sent an XMS email to her Gmail account from Hadar, so she has that. Everyone has an XMS email, so that's great. Everyone should have access to the Google Doc, the email template Google Doc that George created. And just to give like a quick intro on Ryan and the broader trainings that he'll lead both Erica and Madeline through, which you guys will go through a little bit more formal training on Monday. So one, this is part of the reason why we're doing this process is because where Next Canvas is right now is that we really need to, we're kind of at a little bit of a scaling place where Next Canvas is. We can't do, and getting back to the broader core value of anticipate, automate, and act, we really need to automate and think about creative ways of our communication, our outbound communication with schools. And so the holistic reason why we're using more tools, we're bringing in awesome people like Ryan, we're incorporating more training, we're changing around the structure is because every city that we do not launch in effectively is hands down 10,000 students that will be financially worse off literally this year. So if we do not launch, if we're not good enough, if we do not figure out the right ways to communicate with a teacher, to call them in at the right time, to respond to them quickly, to come across as trustworthy, and we're not able to launch in a city like New Orleans, like Dallas, like Houston, whatever it might be, a new or old city, that is hands down 10,000 students that will be financially worse off for the rest of their lives. Can anyone tell me, George or Erica on the call, what I mean by saying they will be financially worse off for the rest of their lives? Why is that the case?
A lot of times, students, especially when they're first going into college, if they don't have the right amount of funds or financial aid, they just sign off on a loan. They might not even know how it works, how the interest works, when to pay it back, how to pay it back, things like that. And that happens a lot in a lot of cities all over the nation.
Yeah.
So that's one of the best ways.
Exactly. So really what and so I'll just tie that concept directly back to what this email is going towards, is that every year, 1.4 million students do not fill out the FAFSA. And because they do not fill out the FAFSA, they leave $2.7 billion of free federal aid, free money, unclaimed every year. So what that effectively means is that 1.4 million students are overpaying for college by $2.7 billion because they end up taking out more loans, right, than they need to. They could take out free money. They end up taking out more free loans because they do not fill out the FAFSA. What are we doing? What is the purpose of the emails that are going out today? What are we trying to get them to do?
We're effectively trying to get the counselors to sign up for our free financial aid workshops so we can actually educate the students and connect them with their money mentor to make smarter financial decisions for college.
Right, exactly. So we're trying to get them literally and specifically, and that's why we'll go through the language, where we're literally trying to get them to fill out the FAFSA. The way that we're getting them to do that is by signing up for workshops. And the reason why, like literally the urgency of this year, is because if you have a statistically higher chance of getting more free federal aid from the FAFSA if you fill out your FAFSA and submit it sooner, right? So that's really where the urgency comes in, and why we're bringing Ryan in is because using tools like Salesforce, Mixmax, having a coordinated strategy, having great response times will ultimately allow us to launch in more cities in a high quality way, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so really quick background on Ryan. So Ryan is a awesome person who's been part of early stage startups and has made them into really huge companies. I'll let him give it his own background. Has run sales teams before. I would say, I said this to George when I gave him his offer letter, I would say confidently, because I've worked with thousands of college students through internship programs, I would say that you'd be very hard pressed to find college students who are getting this level of training. Just to be very transparent, we're paying Ryan a fair amount of money to train you guys. So literally within a month, it's $5,000. It'll probably be 2 months. That'll be $10,000. So I say that so that you understand the commitment that Next Gen Invest is putting into to, like, you, Erica, you, Madeline. Madeline's not on the call, but Madeline, if you're a communications major, hands down, you will not get this type of training in your communications major classes. So that the purpose of saying that is, even Erica, I know that you want to be a mechanical engineer at a place like Lockheed Martin. Understanding and taking the key concepts that Ryan will train you on will make you 10 times better than your peers who are doing mechanical engineering. And the reason why I say that is because at some point you don't just need to be doing engineering, you need to actually be able to communicate effectively with people, right? Does that make sense? Yep. So Ryan, if you could, before we kind of get in, if you could just sort of give your overall background, and I would frame anything that you're talking about with this idea of alluding to Next Gen Invest's core value of anticipating, automating, and acting on everything that we're doing. We couldn't be doing this email communication or outbound to schools if we weren't thinking with our creative thinking hats on around automating at every step, thinking about anticipating questions that teachers might have. So Erica and George and Madeline, who's listening in, everything that you guys are trained on, I want you to be putting that core value front and center to say, can I anticipate a teacher asking a question, or can I anticipate a phone call from this teacher? Can I think about how to automate that? And then can I actually come up and suggest and act on different ways to improve that moving forward? So none of this stuff is set in stone. And I'm really relying on the three of you guys to kind of constantly be iterating on this to meet our broader goals. So with that, Ryan, could you just give a quick background for Madeline and Erica?
Yeah, sure. So I've been working in early stage companies for a very long time. I get in typically around this stage, maybe a little later. And the companies I've been with have grown on to be up to 300-400 people, where it's sort of well-oiled machines when it comes to that process of encountering somebody who has a need, like a teacher who needs to get a FAFSA workshop. Getting in touch with them, uncovering their pain points, and then walking them through this step-by-step sales process, what we're going to call the funnel, all the way to what we want to get to, which is, in this case, booking a workshop. And the way that we're doing this is that we're going to be, we're like, it's essential that this is going to be a volume-based play, right? Like once we figure out how to approach these specific teachers with the right messaging, we're going to get into this kind of rinse and repeat process of understanding like what it is we have to say and how it is we have to say it in order to land the meeting. And once we kind of figure that out, it's going to be all about hitting scale, like automating that through technology. And making sure that we have a database that like syncs back to all these learnings so that we can constantly improve. So the two mechanisms that we're going to be bringing into play here, which one is it's what's called a CRM or a customer relationship management tool called Salesforce. It's really it's like the #1 CRM in the country. It's what everybody uses, Fortune 500 companies use. So you are being trained on the same system that like Lockheed Martin probably uses to manage their customer relationships. So you're going to get exposure onto that side of the business and how they operate from like a sales team process. The other piece that we're going to be building into this is an email. I wouldn't call it automation, but like we'll call it like a sales acceleration tool. Meaning we want to be lighter and faster, right? Because we're going to be juggling tons and tons of conversations, just like the way money mentors juggle tons of conversations with different students. And like, Kelly and Will build tools to help you guys bounce around though and answer those questions more efficiently and effectively. That's what we're going to be doing through Mixmax. So there's going to be two real core components to Mixmax. One is showing you guys how to create these automated templates. So like what Kelly was saying, trying to anticipate, a question that a teacher might ask you when you're in the booking process, there's probably a handful of standard questions. So we're going to automate those responses and I'm going to show you how to do that super fast. Also, when it comes to like customized outreach at scale, we're going to be basically doing our own sort of mini mail merges through sequences. So today is going to be like the initial outreach through this, like we'll call it's not technically a sequence, but we'll get into semantics. But this one sort of initial email where it's going to look slightly customized because we're going to be putting in variables that like exchange out teacher information, like their name and where they go to school, etc. So it looks personalized, like it's coming directly from George, like it's coming directly from Erica. So all of this is going to get, while this is all going on and all this outreach is happening and it's being automated and you guys are booking your meetings, all this information, all this data is going to get pumped back into Salesforce. So these two programs are really symbiotic, like they're feeding into each other so that as we start to get more data in and we see more booked workshops and we see like more success, we can start to really hone in on why things are working and candidly why things are not working. So like, for example, we can see, like on a heat map, the areas where, people are clicking on the emails the most, but not yet replying. And so at that point, maybe it makes sense to say, okay, George needs to go to the city and start banging on doors because that's what he's really, really good at. And we know that he has the highest likelihood of success because we can show on this map, like these are the hot spots. These are the areas where people are like, they're engaged with the content, but they're not necessarily responding to the content quite yet. Does that make sense?
Okay, cool. So just for because I have to I'm being a little, I have to get on a 12 like 30-45 call with Grace to do these video cuts, which I think I sent to Ryan. I think I sent that to you with Ryan, but
it's not the first video. George, you look great, George.
I know. I think you look great, George. Is if we could, Ryan, if we could just jump right to the email that I was sending,
sure.
And to just see if there's any glaring things that you see as being awful or nonsensical.
Yeah. So all the initial data that you guys are working on through that giant spreadsheet, the fall 2016 research spreadsheet, the issue is that it wasn't structured it wasn't structured consistently. So so what we're doing is we're stripping out the pieces that can be like important to Salesforce and automated, One of those things that cannot be imported because it just wasn't there was the salutation. So it sounds like a small thing, but if we're doing, hey, Mr. or reading automatically or Mrs. last name, that salutation needs to be in the CRM in order for Mixmax to read it and do it automatically.
Yep.
So the alternative is we can have George, literally everything else will be teed up, but George just needs to go through it on Mixmax and then like each email put in correct salutation, which still won't fix the problem of the CRM not having that information because it's not bi-directional once it's in the sequence. It's a bit of a technical thing. Or you just go with the like Mr. Mrs. Mr. Miss / whatever it is that George was doing before last name. My initial thought is that it's worth going through and putting the salutation in just because I think it looks cleaner. But if Mr. / Miss has been working, and if I don't want to fix what doesn't work, then we can just let it ride. But that's the one snafu. The punchline is after today, like everything is loaded up in the Salesforce where like technically I could get 400 emails sent out of George's account like right now in 2 minutes.
Okay, so cool.
That's all, so if George does that work, it's just cleaner for the future outreach that'll be done to these people. So it needs to be done anyway, whether or not it's today or whether or not it's later is TBD.
Yeah. So the 2-minute thing is the salutation is just Mr. / Mrs. and that's the salutation.
That's the quick fix to get 400 emails out like in 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So we definitely don't want to do that. And by the way, so the reason why I say that, just to, again, pointing back to core values, is because we want to consistently deliver a trustworthy experience. So something even as small, and I'm saying this, I'm kind of trying to hammer this into your heads a little bit because there will be moments where you have to kind of like make decisions of, do we want the quicker option or do we want the like trustworthy experience option? We want the trustworthy experience option. So go ahead.
So just to be clear here, the quick option is just put in Mr. / Miss right now there's a variable in there. It says salutation. We're going to remove that and put Mr. / Miss. That's the 2-minute Band-Aid.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah.
Okay. So we're doing.
Okay, to touch on the consistency issue, this is the reason why I've been working on the 2017 sheet where I imported all the data from the schools, and Erica, Madeline, and I are actually going through one by one, inputting this information because the fall 2016 is outdated. Some schools don't even exist anymore, so it's just a waste of time having to go by and call them, email them. So I can add a separate column like to the left of last name, so we can put the salutation there. So we have that variable made for Mixmax.
Yeah, that's totally fine. The database that you sent is too small. Like if we're gonna go well, I'll leave it to Kelly to tell me this. The fall 2016 is built on what looks like a year's worth of data inputs, and the one that you're working on now is like 2 days worth of data inputs. So it's if we're trying to get, I'm not concerned about a bounce rate. I'm not concerned because like the level of effort it takes literally to email this entire list is pretty like is de minimis, compared to there is no downside to emailing somebody who doesn't exist there anymore, a school that doesn't exist there anymore, because it'll just bounce and we'll just erase it out of the CRM. We'll just put a do not call or whatever it is, or out of business or whatever. Because right now, like I think like I don't know how many points of contact you have put in there, but it's definitely not in the hundreds at this point.
So George, so I want to just make sure that we're all talking about the same thing. Could we put the links to the spreadsheets that we're both referring to so that we're on the same page in the chat?
Yeah, we'll send it right now.
Because what I'm hearing is that, George, you guys are starting a new spreadsheet, and Ryan, you're referring to the old one. Is that not the case?
Yes.
That's what you're hearing, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we want to, hold on, so if you could just copy that one whenever you have it, George.
Here.
So to your, let's see here.
Another issue with the 2016 sheet is, for example, if we're looking at the Houston spreadsheet, there are some schools that aren't even in Houston. They're in some other city. They're just put in there for whatever reason.
Yep.
And if what we're going by is if I'm unable to make initial contact, I have to go to that school, like, what would I even do?
Let's just table that for 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So I saw what you guys put together here. This is like for Atlanta, for New Orleans. How are you pulling these like school names and the email addresses?
Those we're pulling from the website along with county data records. So, like, for example, with Miami,
Yeah.
I think every quarter they update the sheet of like college advisors, college counselors, and we pull it from there.
Okay, got it. So I would not. And then if you want to put the 2016 spreadsheet in here as well, that would be great.
Into the Hangout.
Yeah, in the Hangout. Okay, so cool, great. Okay, so Miami, form responses, 1 second. Detroit, let's just pick to go into, let's say, if everyone could go into New York, actually Chicago, since I know you're not familiar with Chicago. So if everyone's in the Chicago tab, so let's just lay out, George, as you guys are, like, we need to come up with broadly a like data cleaning strategy that aligns with what we're trying to accomplish today. So a few things around the data collection of like the accurate teacher information that you might not be anticipating, George, because you really you've done some of the phone calls, but not like in different cities, is one, school websites are totally unreliable for the right point of contact person. So what Neha and I found out like last year is that they might be like, the person might have left the school. The quickest way to get the most accurate information is to actually call the main office and say, you know, who's the right college counselor that I should be talking to, right? So websites are a little bit unreliable. I can't really speak to the idea of like looking on the quarterly Department of Education thing. Maybe that's more accurate, but I just really want to not encourage you guys to spend hours on hours going only through websites. The other thing I would say about that as well is, if we were thinking about actually automating for that end goal, we could create a very simple scraping tool to be able to like read websites and scrape that information off. The reason why, mind you, other companies have thought to do that as well. You can actually purchase lists from people, and we did try that, and that's hugely inaccurate. So the reason why I'm saying broadly is like websites are not the best place to get teacher contact information is because we've tried to figure that out in like 5 different ways. So let's be working off of so correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the primary way that we were collecting information for the new spreadsheet that you guys were putting together?
It was from department websites from the school districts, the city, and on a school by school website. Website.
Yeah. So those need to be, that was kind of the purpose of this meeting as well, is that we're actually like going through the whole process of making sure we have the right information. So if you pull up the 2016 research spreadsheet, I'll just go through like a few, because I remember some of these people. Let's try. And Ryan, are you in Chicago as well?
I'm in Chicago. Yep, I'm there.
Okay, cool. So, and please be kind of like jumping in, you know, like how they can be going through this, because this is like the same problem with data cleaning holistically, is that we basically want to get it right the first time. If you're going to invest the hours to like put information into Salesforce once, it should be the right information, right? So we're not having to go back and being like, oh crap, we went into every single high school's website and that's all the wrong information.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that this is the last time we touch a Google Doc. Everything, all this new information, it just needs to be automatically put into Salesforce. Just like, so right now, part of this, well, what's kind of put a kink in the process has been going through all these various spreadsheets because they all format differently. Like for example, if you're looking in this last name section, first name, last name section, you have one that's all caps. That will import into Mixmax as all caps. We don't want that. Like you have one that just doesn't even have the first name. It says Miss, so whatever her name is. So that's going to screw up any sequence that has a variable first name in it, right? It'll just be blank. So it's fine for what we have. Like we can clean it up, but it's just as like on a going forward basis, all new accounts, all new contacts just go straight into Salesforce. They totally skip any spreadsheet.
Does that make sense to George and Erica, you guys?
You guys are gonna get training on Salesforce to show you how to do this. Like that's priority. It's the next priority. So, but the short-term priority today was we needed to get this email out. So like everything else took to like getting us to a point where we had a few hundred people that we could email safely today based on this historical information.
Okay, so
West Coast schools.
So what I think I'm understanding is that we can't say in the email. So if we go to my email template, the one that I put in, let me just put let me find it. Template overview. I'll just put the link in here. I'm putting it here. So if we go to the template overview. So Ryan, what I'm hearing you correctly is that the hi salutation is not possible, right? Hi, Mr.
That's
Jones.
what I was saying, that because the salutations are not inputted as a separate field in that Google Doc anywhere. It can't be imported directly into Salesforce. It is possible to do, but what you have to do is literally go through every single contact and update their salutation in the Salesforce record in order for that to import.
Yeah, which is what we have to do at some point. So I just changed this to hi there.
Yeah, sure.
That work?
That's fine. I think that if you're going back to the trustworthy experience, it's less trustworthy. I think it would take probably a couple of hours to get through all the contacts that are in Salesforce now that don't have, because George can only email 300 people a day on like a mass email before the Gmail algorithm starts to recognize him as a spam bot.
Yep.
So he can only do 300 today anyway.
Yeah.
So if you want, like, it's very possible to blow through 300 contacts and update the salutation and then just import them and do that. It means he won't be emailing them now. It means he'll be emailing them like in 3 hours from now, maybe a little more. I'm happy to dive in and do it too. I'm happy, like Erica, since she's here, we can just go through the basics of how to do that now and clean all that up so that just for this one specific email, we have the trustworthy experience. And honestly, it should be done because if these guys are just they're getting their one touch now, and then like a week or so, George is going to circle back and say, hey, I'm going to be in your city from these dates. He's going to use the salutation variable again. So
yeah,
do it later. That's the answer.
Okay, so I'd like to just if we're assuming 300 per person, that's like 600. That's like 3 cities. That could be the cities on the West Coast. So, right. So like the idea is that we're getting those ones done today, right?
Well, yes.
In the way that you just described, which is with the salutation and doing it kind of as like a little bit more manual process.
There's going to be a manual process in cleaning up all these salutations. So what I understood the expectation was George was going to send these out and the other two were going to be shadowing. So, yep. Which is a little different than like training Erica fully on mixed max, getting her comfortable.
Yeah, right? I think that like, maybe this is too aggressive of an assumption, but Erica, I think if you see George send out 15 emails, you can kind of get the hang of it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely just show me once and I'll try to do it a couple times and I'll get it.
We're not sending out 15 emails. We're sending out, in this one sequence, it's literally a mass email of like hundreds. So George doesn't have to be repetitive 15 times. We're literally setting this up so that all like 300 of his are loaded. He hits a button and it goes. Because that's the fastest way to automate this. Otherwise, it's like he's literally he's wasting time like doing it the other way because it's like
okay. So why don't we start with George, and then however long that takes, then Erica, you can, whether you need another training and that needs to be tomorrow, or if we can do that today, if you've seen how this works, and then
we can do this all today. We can get Erica up to speed if she has the time today. I have the time. I blocked out the whole day, so it's like
okay,
like we can hold up through this. It's just I was thinking in terms of George's capacity because they were going to have a separate training tomorrow, and that's when I thought we would have the rest of the West Coast schools kind of divided up and out. So that's if we can call the audible and make it happen.
Okay, let's try to aim for that then. And since we just have Erica on, and I know that it's a little bit different than what we had initially talked about, but so Ryan, what would you? So let me just recap this really quickly. We think that these salutations are relevant. So we want to be doing them kind of once.
The trustworthy experience is if you think that just by saying hello first name and a first name basis is fine because like it's George who's an adult emailing another adult, that's fine. That we had that ready to rock and roll. But if you think that the Mr. last name feels like a more like a student reaching out to a teacher, which is a more trustworthy experience, then I'm like we just have to.
Oh yeah, so we can do first name then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. First name is no problem. We can say hello first name, and it's like we can cook. If you don't, you just have to understand that like the variables you plan on putting into any of these sequences in the future have to exist in Salesforce, and salutation right now does not.
Yeah, exactly. So and both George and Erica, you guys understand the salutation, right? Okay. And you understand like how that would basically be like one step for if we were to say, hey, Mrs. Smith, and for Chicago Public School, and Smith was actually Mr., right? So we got the salutation wrong, that it would actually be like one step forward in our communication and 19 steps backwards because that person, it's like basically getting an email from me and I'm like, hey, George, and I'm talking to you about stuff that you're not, is not relevant to you, right? It's like super spammy. So we absolutely do not want to have any errors around salutations or like misplaced commas or spelling their name wrong or anything like that. So yeah, but just to get your opinion, like George, do you like, would it feel weird for you to be calling people by their first name, or do you think that that's like acceptable as a college student? And Erica?
I don't have a problem with doing that because I'm not like working under them really. I'm working alongside them. So it should be like a coexistence where I'm not really referring to him as Mr. or Mrs. It's just, hey, Linda.
Eric,
even right now when I think, like anytime you need something, I'm just like, oh yeah, Kelly needs this. It's not
Hey,
like, oh, Miss
Linda.
Taylor needs this right away.
Oh my God, hey Linda, that's might be my highlight of my weekend. Hey Linda. What's up, Susan? Okay, yeah, cool. So yeah, let's do the first name then.
Then that's a breeze. We can bang out all these schools today. It's just a matter of
and I just not to interrupt you, Ryan. I'm not trying to like keep interrupting you and changing plans or the agenda. It's that type of dialogue of like sanity checking against trustworthy experience and also anticipating, automating, and acting was really critical, right? So I said, okay, how do we get to this trustworthy experience? And Ryan was like, hey, could we just do their first name? That's already good to go. Sweet. We just saved ourselves a lot of time trying to like figure out the salutation thing. So I just want to highlight that for you guys, because you guys the three of you will run into the same type of like, wait, Kelly said to do this thing, and does she mean to do it exactly that way, or does she mean to do it with a common sense lens around it, abiding by those two core values? Do you see the difference? So I'm basically saying those two core values, consistently delivering a trustworthy experience and anticipate, automate, and act, should be your driving force of understanding how to interpret directions and how to like make sure that we're doing this with a common sense way. So you don't have to keep pinging me like with every like sign of small question or detail. Any questions around that? Because it's actually really important for how you like autonomously move forward, as opposed to having to like take direct instructions from either Ryan or me. Good?
Yeah, we saved hours. Yeah. We saved like half a day.
Yeah, right.
Just
yeah.
Like, but like from my perspective of only walking in this, like I'm being very new here, it's like I've seen the Mr. and Mrs. has been the thing. And so, if that's been what's working, I didn't want to disrupt that. So it's, but challenging that and seeing that there's a way to work around that, it's healthy.
Okay, cool. So let's start with that then, Ryan, if that works.
That's great. Yeah, we will get this done today. Like we can, I mean, if we have who our third person is, if she's not going to be here, we can start her tomorrow. But yeah, you'll have all the West Coast schools done in like depending on Gmail's bandwidth within a couple of days. Okay, great. So
for and then let's just talk about the template really quickly. Like any other thoughts, sanity checking the email here?
I think overall looks good. I think it's generic enough. Like my name is, send her name, we'll put that in, cool. I'm a current college student, blank, as well as a trained money mentor in Next to Invest. For students, what your students will know at their Next to Invest FAFSA workshop. What is financial aid? How do I apply? What is the FAFSA? Yeah, this all looks great. Would you like me to get more information? Yeah.
So the only thing, so this is the only question, this is why I want to sanity check with you, Ryan, is because we don't have that response template if someone's like, yes, send me more information. Right?
Okay. So then what if they respond positively and they go, yes, please send me more information, what is the next step? Is it to, because if the goal is to book it, then the response is like, do we send them, is there content? Is there?
Yeah, that's what I just want to have a quick conversation about, which is, to me, that's almost like, let's see here. I almost think that's, and again, I might be messing this up with this assumption. I'd almost say that the response should be, amazing. Do you have time to hop on the phone? And then like the mix max.
Yeah, sure.
Time, right? Because then we could, like, if they want more information, the best way to give that information just is to have a 15-minute conversation on the phone.
Okay, 15-minute conversation.
Would George and Erica, would you guys agree with that? Or do you think that should be an email template?
I feel like we should send them an email and give them a call. Like send them an email with a quick FAQ so they can have some questions answered. So that those 15 minutes are spent asking actual questions, not like, why is this free?
Okay, got it. So you actually think that their email should follow that is more of like, great, yeah, here's some more information. And like a link to our workshop page, and then maybe saying below my signature are a few common questions. Would you have time to speak on the phone?
Yeah, but should we open with the phone question?
Yeah, you should absolutely open with the phone question. If they read nothing else but, hey, can I get 15 minutes? Like, here's some, here's a link to all of our workshops and how they work, and here's the FAQs. Like it's
The thing. So yeah. So my only pushback to that, George, is I think that getting them on the phone as quickly as possible is better than them reading more about us.
Okay.
Like I'd rather and say if you think that is incorrect. I think like getting them to Erica or to Madeline as quickly as possible is better than them reading more about us.
Yeah, that's true. Because there's no guarantee they'll call us. They'll already be on the phone, and we can already like convince them to book something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
okay. So I'll quickly kind of just edit that before the end of today. Is like that, like and Erica, you're gonna get like kind of like the call script and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like the goal for this email is really to get people on the phone. The goal for this email is for them to respond, is to say yes, or like give me more information or whatever, right? That's the goal of this email. Do you think that this email that is the top of the email actually would effectively get to that, or no? George, or given your experience?
We're looking at email 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay. Like the main call to action is at the bottom. So any changes at the main call to action. Would you like me to send more information for any of your upcoming FAFSA sessions, college fairs, or parents' nights? I added this because I heard from George that this is primarily what teachers are kind of like. If they don't have 30 minutes, then they could do it at a college fair. If they have 10 minutes, they could do it at like maybe it's like a school, assembly. Any other things to add in there that they might be thinking of?
I was thinking more along the lines of like the call follow-up. We can, instead of saying, would you like more information? Would you like to speak with me for a quick 15 minutes to talk about or like how we can help during your upcoming FAFSA College Fair Parent Night sessions?
Yeah, so I thought about that. So Ryan, what do you think a call is too big of an ask?
I think,
initially?
look, I think
Or can we give them the option?
I think optionality in initial emails, it's just I'm genuinely against that. I think what you're asking for here, it's a nice initial ask of like, do you want more information? And if they go yes, then candidly, just get on the phone and call them.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
Just get on the phone and call them. They say, yes, I want more information. Just give them a call. And then if they don't answer, you leave a voicemail message, then follow up an email and say, hey, just try to give you a call. Here's some baseline information. When's a good time to connect? So that should be the protocol. So it goes go to phone.
Okay, then we should be editing the voicemail blurb that we have in that City Captain toolset.
What needs to be edited in that?
I don't think we do mention like, hey, let's try to get a booking done. It's just like, hey, I tried giving you a call. Let me just.
That's fine. You're just saying I left you a voicemail. We'd love it. Find a time to chat. Here's some baseline information. Like, when the voicemail copy needs to get edited.
Hold on, let me send that over to you.
All right. But for the purpose of solving for this problem now, because that's a different problem, like the general of email touch, they write back, they say, yes, I'm interested. You go phone first, connect, go to book. The phone leaves the voicemail, you follow up with an email. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool.
Cool. So I just wanted to say, I think, but again, like the main goal of this email, and I mean, I'm not trying to, Ryan, again, please push back on this, is like for Mixmax, is there a way to A/B test subject lines or elements in an email?
I don't think so. I mean, we can just send it off as 2 different emails with 2 different groups in it and A/B test that way. But there is no way for like one sequence to A/B test. there is software out there that enables you to do that. It's just, but it's like the cost is through the roof.
Yeah. Okay. So, what I kind of will put George in charge of this. Like, George, what I'd like, and this is, I'm saying this from my own experience, which is like I would kind of test out different email subject lines based on how I felt like the response rate was coming in. So that's like all sentiment based. Now we actually should have like analytics. So if we have bad click-through rates, we should change the subject line, right? Again, I don't have real data to back this up, which is why we're putting all this in Salesforce. But like, I've tended to find short subject lines with question marks are much more successful than like financial aid workshop, right?
Right, and pizza, I think, is also going to have a huge open rate.
Yeah.
I think the subject line is killer. You know.
Thanks, Ryan.
No, we used to do a sneaky one where, you know, most in traditional sales, it was like, you know, the typical subject lines would be like, my company plus your company opportunity, and like that open rate would just bomb. What we would do is we'd make a fake CEO forward, and we put the subject line forward, get in touch with X person at Y company, use all natural language, so it looks like we're CCing or looping them into a conversation, and the open rate was like 70%. It was crazy.
So I think again, all of mine are doing this for like, I came up with all the initial emails, and that's why you guys had to use those email templates for reference. Just, again, I don't have like specific click-through rates, but a college counselor will get 1,000 cold emails a week. So that's what you're competing against. You're competing for their attention of 1,000 cold emails a week. And so things like subject line and specificity as you guys go through this are actually really important. So thinking critically about how to constantly be improving that based on the data that you guys will see from the reports is really important.
So how do you want to do this? Do you want to have like 3 different cities? Like each city uses a different subject line to see which one is
I mean, the cool thing is that by the end of today, you should have some type of like analysis on click-through rates, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right, Ryan?
Well, I mean, I think seeing today, yes, you'll get a portion of them will click, but not all of them. You know, some people, they might have strict Sunday rules about looking at work emails. So you probably
so there's also a reason why we're doing this today, which is, again, based on my own sentiment, which is that when I would send out the initial versions of emails, the highest response rate that I would see from teachers was on Sunday evenings. That could be wrong, but what we're also trying to optimize for is the best time to send emails. So I would kind of guess, like, if I were to, you know, like, I'm sure you guys could attest to this, Friday afternoon, not a good time to send emails, right? Yeah. So I could be wrong that in the summer, Sunday evenings are not great, but I know for a fact that during the school year, most teachers are kind of like gearing up for the week, and they're just like on their email, just like most people are. That might not be the case for the summer, but that's what we're going to kind of try to figure out, right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you see the click-through rates from today versus Madeline's tomorrow and the ones that you're going to do tomorrow, and they're substantially higher tomorrow, do you think that the next iteration of the email that we send out should go out on Sunday or on a Monday?
We should go on whichever one has the highest click-through rate. So if it's a Sunday evening, we should go with that one.
Yeah. So, but we're that's what I'm trying to say is like we need to be like adjusting to that moving forward. Okay, so that's pretty much all I really have to say. If this email template looks good.
This email looks great. I think if you're going to test for time of day to send versus subject line, we should just pick one to focus on. So since we're going to spread across the next couple of days, let's just focus on like day of the week as like, you know, looking for a good optimal time to send emails. Because you add subject line to it, it's a different variable, and it's kind of like.
I would say let's do subject line because day of the week is a little bit weird right now because school hasn't started.
Okay,
so
cool.
I say
what other subject lines do you want to try?
1 second. Is this pizza subject? let's see. Mm, hmm.
Need help increasing FAFSA completion rates? I mean, it doesn't roll off the tongue, but you get what I'm saying, what I'm trying to convey in that subject.
I just put FAFSA help.
Where are we looking right now?
The main document.
On the main document, the Next Invest template overview, and Kelly. So we're going to try 2 different or 3 different subject lines. It's everything in the sequence is going to be exactly the same, or everything in this body is going to be exactly the same. We're just going to send it out to 3 different groups with 3 different subject lines and see what the click-through rate response is. My gut says the pizzas are going to win. But.
Yeah. So, what other things can we like test? I mean, I guess the time, like 30 minutes, like the 30-minute thing that it only takes 30 minutes. FAFSA. What's just like another one that we could try that would give us a thought on? Maybe it should be Pizza Workshop.
I honestly think FAFSA plus Pizza Workshop is a pretty killer. I think
okay. Let's just try. Yeah, let's just do that then.
I think we just run with it.
Okay. All right.
If it is an abysmal open rate, which I don't think it will be, then we should try to fix things that we shouldn't try to fix things that aren't broken.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. So, and then I should also be CC'd on the emails as well.
You want me to CC on everything?
Yeah.
All right.
Are we no longer using the workshops email for these since we have Salesforce?
You mean workshops@nextgenvest.com?
Yes.
I don't think we need to.
Okay, so we'll be using individual calendars then for outreach. I mean, for bookings. So like Erica at nextinvest.com, Madeline at nextinvest.com, they'll have all the.
Yep.
So we're going to be sharing a common calendar, outreach, whatever you want. Okay.
Yep.
So just so I understand, like, what is the point of CC? You want CC or BCC?
Me?
Yeah.
Because people have like Googled me before and found my TED Talk.
And then they respond.
Yeah.
Do you want this all? You have it all going to a folder? Or do you want to put up a dummy email account that still links to your LinkedIn?
Oh yeah, we said that Kelly.Peeler at nextinvest.com. So yeah, I'm gonna make a Kelly a fake one right now.
Okay, make that right now, and then so we can put it in there.
Yep.
How you doing, Erica? Doing good? Thumbs up?
Good, yeah.
Nice. All right.
Great. To Kelly. Okay, I just created that.
Great. You did?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, cool. Okay, so it sounds like we have a game plan. So we'll get George's initial email sent out. We'll use that learning to get Erica set up, and then redo the same thing for her. And then who's the other girl on Monday?
Madeline.
So we have Madeline trained up on Monday. So just so I'm clear, you want all the West Coast schools. We're not touching East Coast schools yet.
I mean, yeah, I would say it should go up to however the count, the 300 person count.
Sure.
So like if you can do Houston, great, because I know that they're already in session as well.
That was something I wanted to bring up. If we are starting off with West Coast, why can't we start off with Atlanta since they start on the 1st of August and they're the first city to open?
What do you mean the first city to open?
Out of all the cities, I looked up their counties and when their classes begin session, and Atlanta was the first one.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Do Atlanta. It should. I'm just saying we should do the schools that are opening the first. Yes.
Okay, because like I have.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying West Coast schools. So yes, whatever schools open first, we should. This email should go out to them.
Okay then.
And we should be good sending as many emails as we can before hitting that 300 person limit thing.
Okay, so you don't have a problem with like reaching like half of San Jose or whatever it would be. Or would you want to reach out to an entire city all at once?
The goal of this is to send as many emails as we can as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess like if you need to use my email address as well, like maybe we should do that. Like, I mean, is it Ryan? Is that just coming from like a different email address or what? The 300 thing?
Yeah, each email address has a 300 send limit.
And that's another license you'd have to purchase, right?
Yeah, which is another license you have to pay for. But candidly, it's like you have to deal like dealing with the responses and juggling multiple accounts. That's
okay.
You're leaving yourself susceptible for balls to get dropped.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we want to do up to the 300 limit, right? To
Yep.
the schools, the cities that are, opening first. So if you could just send like kind of an email, and Ryan, if we could just do like, I'm sure you already were planning on this. Like if you like, let's send the email to us first. So we were checking it and just seeing how it like appears, if like the images come out or the links work. And
yeah, we'll run a test.
Okay, cool.
I've been honestly been running tests. Like you and I have like dummy contact information in Salesforce, and I've been sending myself like templates to see how it looks and stuff. And
Great.
It looks it is looking good. So
Okay.
I mean, it's a bit of a like hold your breath and cross your fingers and you send out the 300, but we're gonna do our best to make sure it's bulletproof before it goes out.
Okay, sounds good. You can do that for mine and just say like, hey, could I have a sanity check? Like, just click on all the links, like even the ones that I just link to. Maybe just like double sanity check and send and click on those to make sure they're the right links. But yeah, that sounds good. Okay, good.
Cool.
All right.
All right, so we'll see you, and then George, Erica, you and I stay on, and we're gonna go through this mix.
Yay!
Okay. All right. Cool.
See you guys.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys.
Ryan time.
Ryan time. So all right, here's the deal. I need 5 minutes. I'm gonna run get a drink, and then we're gonna come back. What we're going to do is, I think it makes sense to kind of just at a cursory level show you Salesforce. We're not going to dive a mile deep into it because it's a bit of a hornet's nest of features. But just so you understand like how the pieces are going to play into each other, I think, and then so it starts to make sense, because otherwise seeing it mix max in a vacuum, it could be a bit confusing. So give me 5 and I'll be right back.
All right. Quick question. Do you want me to end this broadcast and restart it as a second session, so like Ryan time, and the first one would be like Kelly overview?
Sure, sounds great.
All right, cool. I'll send you the new link.
Cool. Send me a new link, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, bye.